guys, my name is Marta, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a sort of review chit chat video of Heatwave by Penelope Lively, one of my most recent 5-star reads and a book that I have a lot of things to talk about. So without further ado, let's start. First of all, I'm going to introduce the book by saying the prologue. In this book we follow Pauline, her daughter Teresa, her daughter's husband Maurice, and their son Luke, and they all go on vacation to this place named World's End. This very small city with a lot of cottages in a small town in the UK. And there we see how Pauline starts to notice how her daughter's marriage is mirroring hers with her old marriage with her ex-husband, and he's going to try to avoid that from happening. So as you can tell by the plot, this book is going to focus on topics like marriage, female's role in a marriage, and relationships basically. The first thing I want to talk about is the writing style that this book is written in. Penelope Lively uses in this novel a very flowery, beautiful writing style that flows by in a way that resembles a movie. In this book we have two timelines, one where what is happening at the moment and a past one when Pauline remembers her relationship with her ex-husband. The different scenes between those two timelines are depicted in a way that it feels as if one was fading apart and the other one was entering into the scene in the same way you would see it in a movie, or at least it gave me that sense. The writing style is also very descriptive. You get a lot of descriptions, especially of the weather, which is one of the main symbols of the book and something I want to talk about later on in this video. And the writing style is also pretty repetitive in a way that also has to do with the themes of the novel, so I will again talk about that later on. But before we get into the symbolism, I want to talk a bit about the main themes of the novel. So starting with the one that you can see the most when reading this book focuses a lot on the female's role in a relationship. We see how Teresa is following this set scheme in society where he has had a child and now he must stay home, take care of the child, while her husband is going to work and basically not doing anything in the relationship that has to do with being actually married. You can see how at the very beginning Teresa sees that as normal, but as the novel progresses she starts to notice that that isn't supposed to happen, that the husband also is supposed to help in the marriage and is supposed to help with taking care of the child, and you get to see the character's evolution throughout the novel as different things start to happen. Also, the topic of the female role is touched upon thanks to Pauline and her flashbacks to when he was married. You can see how he was doing the same things that Teresa is doing now, and that's basically why in this novel we see Pauline trying to stop Teresa from making the same mistakes she did, because he has learned from that. He knows that that isn't healthy and that that isn't supposed to happen. And again, this topic of the female role in the relationship is tied with marriage and how these traditional marriages aren't healthy. One topic that also ties with marriage is the topic of cheating. We see how both husbands, the husband that Pauline used to have and Luke, are cheating on their women. They are meeting these people from work. Cheating is actually a topic that is explored throughout some secondary characters in the novel as well, because we see how very many relationships fall apart as the novel progresses. All these secondary characters also have relationships that don't end up well, to be honest. And also along with that we have the topic of divorce, which is also discussed in the novel because Pauline got divorced from her husband and he saw it as a way to escape this unhealthy lifestyle that he was living in because of all the cheating and because of this feeling of being stuck that he felt while he was in her old marriage. He was on her old marriage. And another theme that this book loosely discusses is the topic of the countryside. They all move to this cottage in the countryside, which is at the very beginning pretty idealized. You see how everything is very beautiful, how there is all this green growing and it looks like the perfect place to spend a summer in. But the truth is that, as Pauline says in different points in the novel, this place used to be worked by workers who were overworking themselves because of the society of that time, and how this place that is now idealized used to be this hell-like place in the past for others. And alongside with these themes, I would really like to talk about the different symbols that I saw in this novel. The first symbol that you can clearly notice when reading this book is the repetitiveness that is tied into the writing style. You see how many scenes repeat over and over again in the novel. Every time, more often, there are certain scenes such as Maurice going and coming back, and Pauline and Teresa seeing that through the window, or them being in the yard and then Luke arrives and says hello to them but then goes back to work. And also another scenes that repeat themselves are them doing normal stuff and suddenly the scene being interrupted by a call that Luke gets and has to absolutely respond to in that moment, interrupting this scene as if work was more important than his marriage. And this repetitiveness in the writing style clearly depicts how repetitive a woman's life is once she gets married, how she is supposed to stay at home, live the same way, and not doing anything else than taking care of the house and of her child, while her husband is out there working and living a normal life. And the different sentences and scenes repeat themselves more and more as the novel progresses, and that in a way makes the reader feel asphyxiated the same way that as these women must feel in their relationship when they see it fall apart in this way, when they see it becoming this awful thing. And the other main symbol that this novel features is, as the title suggests, the weather. This novel takes place from the last weeks of spring to the basically the end of the summer, and of course during that time the days get warmer and warmer, and that heat that starts to grow in intensity as the novel progresses is clearly a mirror of the heat that this family is getting in between. There is a lot of tension that builds up throughout as the novel progresses, to the point where both Teresa and Pauline feel like they can breathe, like they are asphyxiating, as if they were in hell, as if they were living as the title suggests, during a heat wave. And that is clearly a way. Last, the weather also clearly becomes a symbol at the end of the novel. This might be a bit of a big spoiler, so if you haven't read this or nor want to be spoiled, I wouldn't suggest you continue watching this, but if you don't mind, just keep going. At the end of the novel, we see how this big storm starts happening. This storm that comes out of the sudden because all the days were very hot, very warm, and this storm is clearly a symbol of how this relationship has come to the point where it's about to explode. In the novel, you see how the storm makes the power go away in the house. Everything is in complete darkness, and then the last scene happens. And that scene where the power's gone out and Pauline kills Maurice clearly becomes the relaxing point of the novel. All the heat has gone away, now there's a storm, and he is dead. So in a way, the heat has gone away because they've been liberated from this awful marriage. And last but not least, the other main symbol of the novel is one that I have already mentioned, I think, but it's the title of the novel, Heatwave, which clearly suggests the tension that is going to build up in the novel as you read on, because they feel stuck as you feel stuck during a heat wave, as if you can breathe because of how warm it is, because of how humid it is, and that feeling of feeling like you can breathe is clearly very similar to the way Teresa feels in her marriage as the novel progresses. And last but not least, I want to talk about my personal opinions of the novel. This was, as I said at the beginning, I think one of my most recent 5-star reads, and I absolutely adored it. I really like how the writing style depicted, as I said, the different feelings of the characters, and how you, the reader, as you read, you end up feeling the same way as the characters are, and that makes this novel feel very close to the reader, and that is always very nice to read. Also, I really enjoyed how film-like the writing style felt. I've already mentioned this, but I could perfectly see every scene in my brain when I was reading. It was like watching a movie. It was so much fun and make this book feel even more real. So yeah, Heatwave, a book that I recommend if you wanna read a short book that is going to make you think a lot, that is going to make you reflect a lot on women's position in marriage and in a relationship. Also, I would say that if you aren't okay with reading some books that feature cheating, maybe this book isn't for you. But in my case, I really enjoyed it, I really liked it, and I cannot wait to read more from Penelope Lively. That was all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give a thumbs up and comment down below if you read this book or if you haven't, and of course if you have, tell me what you thought of it. And I am hoping to do more book reviews in the future. That is something I would like to do more frequently on my channel. And I hope you have been amazing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!